An 1871 medical portrait documents severe horn-like growths covering a patient's face. A man stands before a mountain of bison skulls waiting to be processed in 1860. An expedition cook prepares a penguin for lunch in Antarctica in 1915. An early live-action Mickey Mouse costume looks more frightening than friendly in 1947. Children calmly pose among live alligators at a California attraction in the 1920s. 3. Circus performers balance head-to-head on a London street in 1953. This carefully wrapped mummified cat dates from ancient Egypt, roughly 664 to 30 BC. Would you display something like this in your home? A kangaroo knocks down a woman who tried to photograph it in the 1960s. Soviet surgeon Vladimir Demikov presents one of his controversial two-headed dog experiments in 1954. Prince Randian, born without limbs, became a celebrated circus performer in the late 1800s. This 1880 German multi-tool combines roughly 100 attachments with a working revolver. Soldiers wear gas masks while peeling onions at Tobruk in 1941. Nuba wrestlers pose in the mountains along the Sudanese border in 1949. A dentist extracts a tooth while an assistant pins the patient's head with a towel in 1872. The Capote e Capello hood once concealed Azorean women's faces and remained in use into the 1930s. Would you have worn this traditional hood in public? Kayan women wearing traditional neck rings observe a guard at St. James's Palace in 1935. The U.S. Pacific Fleet gathers during the campaign to retake the Marshall Islands in 1944. 6-year-old Jewel Walker picks 20 to 25 pounds of cotton each day in 1916. Joseph Pilates trains Metropolitan Opera star Roberta Peters in 1951. Democrats and Republicans hold a snowball battle outside the U.S. Capitol in 1921. Audi workers stand on a 920 sedan to demonstrate the strength of its body in 1938. A hockey goalie's battered face shows the cost of playing before masks became standard, 1966. A mechanical parking garage stacks 48 cars in downtown Chicago in 1936. Would you trust an elevator with 48 cars inside? A U.S. Marine gives water to a kitten found beneath a destroyed Japanese tank in 1943. A gas station cuts its hours during the American oil crisis of 1973. Firefighters rehearse an emergency rescue during a training exercise in the 1980s. Professional rat catchers work during Sydney's bubonic plague outbreak in 1900. Temperance campaigners bring their anti-alcohol message into a Pasadena bar in 1947. Mona and Beth share a shower in Ward 81 of Oregon State Hospital in 1976. The famous Cottingley Ferry photographs fooled many viewers before the cousins admitted the hoax. Billy the Kid wears a top hat while playing cards in 1877. What story do you imagine behind this game of cards? Washington lumberjacks posed beside the enormous Douglas fir they felled in 1899. The 1902 Praterville mine disaster killed 216 men and left families with final handwritten notes. A 16-year-old German anti-aircraft soldier is photographed during World War II. Maurice Guérin, winner of the first Tour de France, meets admirers in 1903. A Zulu rickshaw puller carries a tourist through Durban in the 1930s. Steven Spielberg works beside the mechanical shark on Jaws in 1975. Photographer Margaret Bourke White balances above Manhattan on the Chrysler Building in 1930. London's women firefighters practice a ladder rescue during the First World War. Could you climb this ladder without hesitation? A serviceman shares a farewell kiss at New York's Penn Station in 1943. Ultraviolet lamps treat a pig's skin condition in an English laboratory in 1938. An Auschwitz survivor searches through thousands of recovered eyeglasses in 1945. Albert Einstein relaxes at his Princeton home in a pair of fuzzy slippers. An astonishing wall of antique chairs fills a New York shop in 1943. Members of England's Brighton Swimming Club pose in top hats in 1863. "19-year-old David Isom breaks the color barrier at a segregated Florida pool in 1958. Artists study Dalmatian puppies while producing Disney's 101 Dalmatians in 1961. Which detail would you study first in an animation workshop? Alfredo Di Lelio serves his famous fettuccine Alfredo to John F. Kennedy in Rome in 1963. A nanny hides children inside a wardrobe during a German air raid on London in 1942. Eleanor Roosevelt's New York pistol permit is photographed in 1957. Calvin Klein embraces his daughter after kidnappers release her in New York in 1978. American high school girls learn practical auto mechanics in 1927. A model displays beach fashion against an unlikely snowy backdrop in 1915. A Brazilian girl refuses to shake hands with military ruler João Figueiredo in 1979. Painters balance high above New York on the Brooklyn Bridge cables in 1914. Could you work at this height without modern safety gear? A steel ball tests the strength of a motorcycle helmet in 1957. Mr. Rogers shares his small pool with black police officer Francois Clemens in 1969. First World War observation posts hide in plain sight as artificial trees. A 1931 exercise machine promises to make its user taller. Before becoming First Lady, Jacqueline Bouvier worked as a newspaper photographer in Washington. Arnold Schwarzenegger playfully lifts a woman at London's Victoria Palace Theatre in 1968. A veiled Carmelite nun kneels alone in prayer inside her French cell in 1904. A lineup traces the dramatic evolution of women's swimwear from 1875 to 1927. Which swimsuit era looks most practical to you? A seamstress adds Alaska's 49th star to the American flag in 1958. Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud relax together at a bathhouse in 1907. Men dressed as women line up for a group portrait in Brazil in 1913. Urban planners study a room-sized city drawing decades before computer-aided design. 1955. A Bakutu woman is photographed in the Belgian Congo. In 1957, a kitchen table becomes an improvised dentist's office. In 1897, motel owner James Brock pours acid into an integrated pool during a 1964 civil rights protest. A shoemaker poses beside a comically oversized pair of boots in 1927. Would you order shoes this large just for publicity? Ruby Fox is photographed after helping plan an escape from Nebraska's women's reformatory. A reader explores the towering cast-iron stacks of Cincinnati's main library in 1874. A Victorian bathing machine carried swimmers into the sea while preserving public modesty. Pilot Owen Baggett was credited with downing a Japanese aircraft using only a pistol in 1943. Young Cambodian Buddhist monks smoke cigarettes in 1907. A German reconnaissance seaplane ends up embedded in a building's roof in 1919. Pieces of the Statue of Liberty wait on Bedloe's Island before assembly in 1885. A New Yorker reads that the Nazi army is only 75 miles from Paris in 1940. How would you react to reading this headline on the street? Contestants line up during an American Beauty competition in 1945. Contestants display their work at an amateur tattoo competition in France in 1950. Apollo software leader Margaret Hamilton stands beside the handwritten code that helped reach the moon, 1969. Genevieve Slade wins a 1926 long hair contest with hair measuring 152 centimeters. Victorian amateur actors stage a deliberately exaggerated domestic punishment scene around 1890. Visitors stand inside the Statue of Liberty's torch in 1938, decades after public access was closed. A grandstand collapses during the Indianapolis 500 in 1960. A massive blast door guarded a secret congressional nuclear bunker during the 1960s. Would this door make you feel safer during a nuclear crisis? A Dutch athlete receives a portrait of Hitler as a competition trophy in 1941. A disputed photograph from the Amityville house appears to show a small boy in 1976. Spent shells show the scale of a single day's Allied bombardment in 1916. Travelers cross a chain bridge in China during the 1930s. A young Demi Moore poses for a studio portrait during the 1980s. An 11-year-old boy faces a police camera after being arrested for stealing a car. An Italian police officer tickets a woman for wearing a bikini on the beach in 1957. A sexist advertisement from the 1950s offers husbands a supposed shortcut to domestic happiness. Which detail makes this advertisement feel most outdated? 12-year-old Martha Herbert received 142 days of hard labor for a small theft in 1871. Charlie Chaplin meets deafblind author and activist Helen Keller in 1919. The BBC Sound Effects Department creates noises for radio broadcasts in 1927. Abraham Lincoln meets Union General George McClellan after Antietam in 1862. University of Florida students walk their live alligator mascot during the 1960s. Mike Tyson poses with Robin Givens, her mother, and Donald Trump in 1988. A child rides an alligator at the California Alligator Farm in the 1920s. Californians wear masks during the deadly second wave of influenza in 1918. Does this 1918 scene feel unexpectedly familiar today? After Truman defeated Dewey in 1948, the loser of a friendly election bet shines the winner's shoes. A steelworker balances high above Manhattan during construction of the Empire State Building in 1930. Defendants at the Nuremberg trials laugh after a translation mistake in 1945. David Kirby's family comforts him during his final battle with AIDS in Ohio in 1990. Richard Avedon's 1961 photograph records the punishing wear on Rudolf Nureyev's feet. French boxing champion Fred Bretonel is shown at 16 and again at 23. Kenyan runner Sabina Chebichi wins a 1973 marathon barefoot and wearing a dress. A Danish shop hangs more than 1,000 overcoats outside for a winter sale in 1936. Would a display like this persuade you to enter the shop? Parents publicly support their LGBTQ children as the rights movement grows in the 1970s. An American punishment chair publicly restrains a man accused of vagrancy in the early 1900s. More than 7,000 bags of gold and silver looted by Nazi Germany are recovered in 1945. Children gather beside a dead horse in the crowded slums of Lower Manhattan in the 1920s. Museum workers assemble a dinosaur skeleton in the United States in 1904. Three young girls work long hours at the Maggioni Canning Company in 1903. Bessie Coleman, the first black woman to earn a pilot's license, died in 1926 at age 34. A 1966 lecture demonstrates how easily electricity can pass through the human body. Would you volunteer for a demonstration like this? Parisians cross floodwater on improvised pathways made from rows of chairs in 1924.